Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of Not Too Comic Book. This being a show where we talk about TV shows that are adaptations of comic books. For today's episode, I'm going to talk about Übel Blatt Season 1, Episode 5. A lot of really interesting things went down in this episode, so let's break it down. So picking up where the last episode left off, a little time afterwards, we have Rosen showing up trying to warn, I'm going to butcher his name, it's the banded Landgrave. Stemwell. That I'm good. That's as close as you're going to get, and I know that's the furthest thing from it. And I'm probably going to say it different ways every time I say it. But do forgive me for my horrendous pronunciation. But yeah, him. Rosen came to warn him about Coinzel, but he kind of doesn't think much of it. It's like, yo, the defense that is here is too much. He's like, I can't die. Basically, I became one of the 7 heroes. Basically, I'm too important. There's so much. I'm a guiding light in this world, and the world would never want me to die. So I'm going to be protected. So. But even then, Rosen is thinking back to what Coinzel said. It makes me think he probably knows that the Landgraves, all the 7 heroes, are not who they claim to be or who they pretend to be. He probably sees through it, but for him, it's like there is order in all of this. There might be effed up stuff behind some of this stuff. He knows they're probably up to some shady stuff, that they're not the heroes they pretend to be. Maybe he's seen glimpses of it. He knows some of the stuff like the Fargo stuff. Maybe he knows some of that, but because it does seem like on some occasion, it does seem like he is rooting for Coinzel despite them being on opposite sides of things. Because he thinks Coinzel is honorable in a lot of ways. But I think it's just the world is the way it is now, and there's such a pillar to 7 heroes that if you remove them, you throw the world into chaos. And it's like, despite maybe they're not the heroes that you claim they were built up to be, they still represent something and they mean something, and kind of stripping them from the world, that's an issue. But like I said, he has an issue with this particular Landgrave, and like I said, I just don't think he thinks the heroes are the heroes. But either way, Coinzel is still with Weed and Ott, and they're still making their approach to the castle. They've got other, aerial people. They've got people on the barriers of the castle, like firing arrows, which Coinzel can only commend him because he remembers being here like 20 years ago with Bandit Dude, because they end up pulling out a magic artillery weapon, and he remembers that weapon being delivered here all those years ago because it was stolen. It's Wish Tech. So he's like, he knew it belonged to them, and they actually were there when it was the people. They fought alongside the people who fought to steal that and give it to them. In fact, Bandit Dude actually took advantage of that weapon and used it. I don't know if that was supposed to be post everything 20 years ago. Like, was it already when they were the heroes, or before they were officially the heroes, or was it still part of? I think it was probably still part of that campaign for the Empire that they were on before they betrayed. Was it Ostradit and the other ones? Coinzel's real name, whatever the case may be. But the thing Rosen respects about Coinzel is he's not going to just mercilessly kill these people. Like, he's not just going to shed blood because he doesn't want to, because he knows these people, like, they are people who are being suckered by the 7 heroes. So just like the townspeople last episode, when he looked, he was like, oh, they're gathered together to protect, this boy and his family because they think I'm the bad guy. And he's like, look at them, like the bravery they have to try and stand against me, and they're coming together just for this get. Like, it's like, for him, it's just like he couldn't help but admire that. Even if they're being duped, he still admires. He knows the good nature of them trying to help. So he's kind of the same with these soldiers, because he respects them. He respected them back then. He respects them even now of what they stand on. They stand on business, and they're holding this down, even though the person they're trying to protect is a garbage person. Either way, they fired the weapon, and he uses his blades. As he describes it, he's able to disrupt the blades because the magic basically turns regular water into a powerful beam. But he's like using, I guess, his blades. He's able to diffuse the magic in it and revert it back to water. So they just pass through and manage to come out of it unscathed. And he knows the secret passageways to go. So, and they end up running into, Gironpin. who's here because he's trying to rectify everything, because he played a role in delivering maidens here, which includes Ott's sister, which makes you go like, oh, it feels like that's gonna suck, especially considering she already lost a brother, and then it potentially lose her sister too, especially because that's the only reason why her and like Wade in particular are here. But yeah, like he delivered maidens, and he saw last episode what his big bro Fargo is capable of, and he's like, I saw what he did to that boy's family, turning them into monsters, and it's just like, I played a role in this, and I can try and make excuses, but I can't. I just want to make up for it, you know? Because he believed, because he's like, right, like someone who was a nobody was basically taken in and given a grand purpose. So he drank the Kool-Aid. He believed in all this BS, just like so much of the world did. He never realized like all the terrible people that are behind, you know, parading themselves as heroes and special people when, you know, they're garbage people. So he ends up helping Coinzel and the others sneak in. He disguises them as maidens, and it's like, oh, we'll send them off to Fargo. And basically they had Fargo come out to meet them in this trap. But, you know, the moment Gidonpin is asking questions, because he's like, I saw what happened. Tell me, like, what happened to the maidens? Because he, you know, Gidonpin, like, drops them off. I keep saying, am I switching his name around? Because it sounds wrong. And once again, I'm so shitty with names. I'm sorry. I'm like, is it Gidonpin or is it like Pipanran? Either way, he questions Fargo because he still wants to believe. He's like, maybe I'm misunderstanding this. Tell me. And then Fargo is able to pull his weeping story of like, oh, I was cursed because of Wish Tech experiments, and sometimes I can't control myself. Oh God, woe is me. Like I've been this. Like the fact of the matter is, not even the Landgrave himself knows this, because if he did, how could I be like basically his right-hand man of one of the great heroes if I've got this constitution in this situation going on? So it's like, oh, woe is me, the monster in me, I'm not always able to control it. You're just like, you lying, manipulative piece of shit. And then, you know, Home Dude is buying it, and so he turns to Coinzel and he's like, see, this is all fine, because he's like, I'm sorry for doubting you, big bro, and stuff like that. But then like Fargo sees that as Coinzel in him. He's like, oh, you led me into a trap, and proceeds to stab him. I was like, oh God, that sucks. Like, don't tell me he's going to die, especially because he gets stabbed like through the back, and like it hits like close, like, you know, closer to the center of his chest. I don't think it pierces hard, but who knows. And then both of his hands get pierced. I was like, God, that sucks. And before Fargo can finish him off, Coinzel blocks it, and it's like, I made a mistake by letting you live. But like Fargo's still wounded from the previous encounter, so he's like, I'm too sluggish. So he's buying time. He's like, all right, I'll strike a deal. The girl you're after, I can tell you too where she is, and you just kind of let me live. But Coinzel's like, oh, she was brought here. He's like, yeah, she was. He's like, cool, I will get to her after I kill you. Because it's like, I want you to also know, I'm not here just for that. I'm not going to just talk to I'm here to kill your boss. Once again, Steltim, like, once again, I'm going to butcher it every time. Going to murder him. Because I think he's made that pretty clear previously that he's planning on killing the 7 heroes. Maybe not just fighting them, straight up murdering them, but I don't know, because they're still shocked from like Wade and Ott. So I'm like, hasn't he made that declaration time and time again that he's going to kill them? Is this actually, like, has he kind of just been like, I want to confront them, but maybe he never, maybe I'd have to go back and be like, no, maybe he never, at least around some of them, he's never clearly been like, I'm going to murder these guys, even though that's kind of like, no, it's pretty clear he wants his revenge because these guys are pieces of shit. But then we kind of get a look at Fargo's power, like, all the maidens that were sacrificed, because the whole point is like, what was it? They do something to the maiden's blood to kind of repress like the dark energy in them or something like that, and then it's like, yeah, and then we send them off and they live in peace, but he ends up absorbing them. I don't know if like Fargo being what he is, I don't know if that's Bandit Dude doing that to him, whether that was originally part of his constitution, or maybe he really was experimented on and the Landgrave is just taking advantage of that. I think it's probably this, because they have scientists working on stuff like, so this is their operation. So I guess they were testing this out on Fargo. I guess he was the test subject. I mean, who knows? They probably tested on other people and it didn't work. Maybe there's something in Fargo that allows this, because it seems like he's absorbing the bodies of the people, the maidens that were brought here. So there's no saving them. Obviously, it's been a long. Who knows how long they've been doing this? Even before Fargo situation, they've probably been running experiments for this place ever since. Bandit Dude became like one of the 7 heroes. But you're just like, man, I cannot wait for them to get their comeuppance, especially Fargo. It's like, I want you to be put down like the monster that you are, and then for your boss to be following you soon after. Because like, I'm wondering, will Coinzel like tell him like who he really is? And it's like, do you even deserve to know? Because like, are they even anything special at all? Because like, obviously Coinzel previously was like one of the greatest swordsmen. It doesn't help that we had that flashback too of their bond and everything, where it's like, oh, he used to be a stonesmith before he became a bandit, and Coinzel originally like was it Oshite, was the son of a blacksmith. So it's just kind of like, oh, like, look at us together being where we are, let's kind of see this through. Once again, it's like, this is a person that you did consider a friend, but now you see them for what they are and the atrocities they've continued to commit upon, their title of hero being bequeathed upon them. So well, because the secret passageway isn't something that they took, isn't something that everyone knows. Because I was about to say, I'm wondering what Rosen and them are going to do, but it's like, well, they don't know about the secret passage to get in there. Only like Girampen and some others know about it. So there's no concern about being followed necessarily. So, and also Bandit Dude was there because him and Fargo were in this very specific room, and I guess that room might be the culmination of all their experiments, because we do see these pillars, and I almost wonder, are they almost supposed to be like this kind of magical test tube that they're keeping these bodies on from when they're experimenting? I don't know. We didn't really get to see them, but it looked like there was almost looked like there was blue lines on, like, from the angle the camera was at, it almost looked like those might have been like windows of sort, like you see like windows from like a test tube, like a large tube like that. I don't know, maybe I'm just completely wrong about that, but I'm wondering what the significance of that room is. It feels like that's where it all really goes down, but we'll have to wait to see. I mean, there's always the possibility that Bandit Dude will do to himself what, like, basically Fargo is like the test subject, and the Landgrave Bandit Dude is going to try and be like, oh, I'm going to take advantage of it, and now there's a more perfected version of it. I'm going to be so strong and powerful. We'll see how that all shakes up and how that all plays out. I'm excited to see where the next episode takes us with all of this. But really, that's all I wanted to talk about. Till the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day and goodbye.